Hey everyone, this is Hannah with the Rocket Miner giving you today's news update. I wanted to start with just quickly going over the COVID-19 numbers for Wyoming for today. Unfortunately, the numbers keep climbing in pretty drastic ways. Today, the Wyoming Department of Health is reporting that we are up to 7,089 confirmed cases and 1,286 probable cases. This is an increase of 175 new confirmed cases since yesterday. That's on the higher end of the numbers we've seen for increase of cases for a single day. This puts us now at 1,958 active cases for Wyoming, so just a little under 2,000 as far as our active case number. That's an increase of 99 since yesterday. So those numbers are continuing to rise. We're continuing to see this spread, and the recoveries have slowed down. So just again, encourage everyone to keep taking precautions. Now is when we're getting tired of it, but it's when it's really necessary and really important to be sure that we're still doing these things to be safe and to help limit that spread that we see just continuing to increase right now. Also wanted to give another update on some of the wildfires, specifically the Mullen fire, and also a little bit about the Cameron Peak fire. So for today, the Mullen fire is at 176,371 acres. It is 34% contained, so the containment has gone up a little bit. Their InstaWeb update page said that they had some rain and snow showers and even some blizzard-like conditions at some of the higher elevations around the fire, and that kept the fire activity to a minimum. Even though there were strong winds, especially yesterday, the fire didn't show any new growth, so that's great that the winds didn't make it spread much further. They also reported that much of the intense heat has gone out of the interior of the fire. So the heat that remains is scattered, so firefighters are going to be working on dealing with those spots that are hotter and taking care of those areas. They'll be applying more retardant to cool some of the hot spots and to prevent further growth of the fire from those. I also wanted to just quickly touch on the Cameron Peak fire, which is in Colorado, but it is really pretty close to the Mullen fire, and wanted to give the update because they said that that is now the largest fire in Colorado's history. It is smaller than the Mullen fire. It's at 164,140 acres, and thankfully it's even more contained. It's 56% contained. But since those fires are close together, since we're still seeing a lot of strong winds and different complicated conditions with the weather, there is still concern about both of those fires, obviously. So continue to hope that the cooler weather will help them get those fires contained. To give a few updates about things happening in our community, Sweetwater BOCES said that they're working towards buying a new planetarium. The portable planetarium that they use has been a part of our community for 30 years now. It's used in all sorts of different places and for events at schools and libraries and churches and just all different activities where that's been used over the past 30 years. But since it's been in use for that long, it is starting to wear down. They said that the dome itself has some holes in it, and that it's based on old and pretty outdated technology. Most of the new planetariums that are used now have a digital projector that can be updated, and this one doesn't have that. So they're looking to replace it to get a new planetarium. They're expecting that's going to cost about $50,000, but thankfully they've taken the first step towards that. Because the first $5,000 were provided thanks to a grant from the Rocky Mountain Power Foundation. So they got that grant from Rocky Mountain Power, and that's going to go towards replacing the planetarium so they can get a new one. I also wanted to let everyone know about some events coming up in connection with October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Most people are probably already aware that that is celebrated this month. There have been a lot of things happening locally and a lot of recognition of that. You've probably noticed there are purple lights on some of the trees along Dewar Drive. Lots of people have the purple Stand Against Domestic Violence signs in their yards. And there's lots of purple ribbons and decorations. So that's all in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But there are also going to be a few events happening connected to that are coming up. This Saturday, there will be a 5K. It's the Stand for Wit 5K run/walk. That is to honor the memory of a girl named Whitney who was a victim of domestic violence in our community. It's being put together by her sister. So that's going to be this Saturday at noon, starting at the Park Hotel. So you can go there if you're interested in being involved with that. Also, the YWCA of Sweetwater County does a lot of work with domestic violence victims, so they're doing a lot to support, to raise awareness for this month. They will be hosting a luminary event at 5:30 p.m. on October 20th at Bunning Park. Individuals will be able to drive around Bunning Park, and as you drive, you can see the 11 silent witness silhouettes that represent the 11 women killed in Sweetwater County. They've done events like this in the past. This year's a little bit different with it being a drive, but they have those silhouettes to represent the women that have been victims of domestic violence here locally. This year, the YWCA also has 2 new silhouettes that will be added. The first is representative of missing, murdered Indigenous women, and the second is called Hope, and it focuses on the connection between domestic violence and suicide. So they'll have those silhouettes and that event on the 20th to raise awareness and to honor the victims. And as I said, the YWCA does a lot of work, and what they do is to help people who are victims of domestic violence, and they've been doing that for more than 40 years. And one of the services that they offer is the 24-hour crisis line. And this year, the Episcopal Diocese of Wyoming is supporting the YWCA and helping make sure that victims have access to this service, and especially to the crisis line. They have provided a total of $13,000 to support that crisis line, which is awesome of them to give that donation, and of the YWCA to just keep offering that service and that support to everyone who needs it. So those are some of the things going on this month to raise awareness for that cause and to support people and honor the victims and keep working to prevent that tragedy in the future. So wanted to let you know that those things are going on. Keep an eye out for those and other ways that you can support that cause this month. So those were the updates that I have for you today. Thank you for listening, and keep checking back with us for more news and updates, and I hope everyone has a good night.